All right, today we're going to completely reframe how you look at weddings seriously. Forget about seeing them as just a one-day gig. We're going to show you how to turn every single wedding you host into a powerful marketing engine that just keeps building on itself, driving growth for years to come.
Okay, let's break this down. On the one hand, you have the traditional view, right? A wedding is just a single transaction. You book it, you host it, you clean up, and it's over. But the modern view, that's a whole different ballgame. That exact same wedding is actually the fuel for a marketing engine that can run for years. This shift in thinking, it's everything.
You know, it's so easy for venues to fall into what I call the transaction trap. And look, on the surface, it makes a lot of sense. You execute the event, you collect the payment, and you move right on to the next booking. But sticking to that model means you're missing out on the single biggest opportunity you have.
And this is what that trap looks like in practice. It's a strategy we can call passive hosting. You do an absolutely fantastic job. The day is perfect. And then what? You just wait. You hope you get a nice 5-star review. You cross your fingers that a few guests tag your venue on social media. You're basically leaving all of your future marketing completely up to chance. See, the real problem here is that each wedding gets treated like it's in its own little bubble, totally isolated from everything else. But what if it wasn't? What if every single celebration you host could become a permanent, working part of your business's growth infrastructure? So let's do it. Let's shift our perspective right now. We're going to redefine what a wedding actually is from a pure marketing perspective. Because when you do that, you uncover this hidden engine that you already have, you just haven't turned it on yet. Okay, here's the big idea. A wedding is not just a party, it's a network attention event. Now just think about what that phrase really means. You have a captive audience of hundreds of people, all of them in a super heightened emotional state, and they're all naturally taking photos and sharing their experiences. From a marketing point of view, it is an absolute goldmine. And just think for a second about who is actually sitting in those chairs. It is so much more than just friends and family. You've got potential future brides and grooms in there. You've got business owners who might need a spot for their next corporate event. You've got people planning all sorts of other parties. Literally every single guest is a warm lead. So the million-dollar question is, how do you actually tap into this amazing network? Well, it's not about being pushy or getting all salesy. Nope. Instead, you just build a really simple framework around one thing: visibility. And we can break it down into 3 simple tiers. And here's that framework. It's pretty straightforward. Tier 1 is physical visibility. This is all about creating spaces that are so photogenic, so recognizable, that guests can't help but take pictures. Tier 2 is social visibility. This is where you gently guide guests to tag your venue, aligning their content with your brand. And Tier 3, digital visibility, is about making sure all those amazing professional photos keep working for you long after the wedding is over. Now, it's really important to get this. This strategy isn't about some one-hit wonder, trying to get a single wedding to go viral online. No way. It's about something way more reliable and way more powerful. And that's the slow, steady, incredible power of compounding, where each event builds on the success of the ones that came before it. And if you're wondering just how big this opportunity really is, let's just run some super simple numbers. You'll see what I mean. So let's say your venue hosts a pretty solid 50 weddings a year. For most venues, that's a very achievable number. And let's also say that each of those weddings has an average of about 120 guests. Again, pretty standard stuff. You do that simple math, and the result is just wow. That is 6,000 individual marketing exposures every single year. And remember, these aren't people seeing a random paid ad. These are 6,000 people who have experienced your venue firsthand during an amazing, emotional, memorable event. This right here, this is what we mean by ecosystem thinking. You're not just hosting a series of one-off events anymore. You're building a system, a living ecosystem, where every single wedding you host nurtures future growth. This is how you build real, lasting brand authority, not overnight, but consistently and powerfully over time. To really put all of this into practice, it just takes one last thing: a fundamental shift in your mindset. It all comes down to changing the one core question you ask yourself to figure out if an event was truly a success. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Of course, being beautiful matters, but long-term success isn't just about how you look. It's about being remembered. It's about staying visible. That is your ultimate competitive advantage. So here it is. This is your new core question. At the end of every single event, when the last guest is gone, you need to ask your team, did this wedding create future visibility value for our business? If you can get to a place where the answer is consistently yes, then you're not just hosting events anymore. You're building an empire.